Welcome to another day for our summit review for our STAR test May 3rd. Today we're reviewing quadratic key features and how to solve quadratic functions. Alright, so some vocabulary on this for you to fill out. So a vertex is the highest or lowest point on a graph. That is, in this case, this point right here. A little off there, right here. That vertex is also called a maximum. So you can label that the vertex, and you can label it a maximum as well. All right, the axis of symmetry is a line that goes through the vertex. It is a line that cuts the graph in half. So if you draw that line that cuts the graph right down the middle, it would be about right there. It's a little off, but it's right there. The equation for the axis of symmetry, not very good writing, axis of symmetry, is that it cuts through the x-axis, and it cuts through the x-axis at 2, so it's x equals 2. And if you look, it makes it mirror itself on both sides. And the axis of symmetry is always x equals. Okay, remember that roots are the same thing as x-intercepts. So those would be the x-intercepts, or the roots. Those are also called zeros or solutions. Zeros, solutions, or x-intercepts. Okay, a maximum is when the graph's turning point, the graph's vertex, is at the highest location. A minimum would be if it's at the bottom location. And lastly, remember, zeros are the same thing as x-intercepts, so that's the same answer. All right, so from this function, let's see which ones of these are true. Based on the quadratic function, which statements are best supported? So number one, the x-intercept is located at -3, 0. The x-intercept -3, 0 is right there. Now, if you're not sure where to graph that, if you struggle with graphing right now, you could graph that and see if that's about right. That point right there that shows up there looks like it's about the same as that, so that's definitely correct. So 1 is true. The coordinates of the y-intercept are 0, 9. So the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. That is 0, 9. Again, if you're not sure, you could graph this to make sure you have it right. Okay, it's right there. That looks right, so it is correct. And lastly, the axis of symmetry is x equals -3. So the axis of symmetry, again, is a line that crosses through the middle of the graph. It goes through the x-axis, it goes through a -3, so that one is also true. So on this example, 1, 2, and 3 are all correct. All right, nextly, this is kind of a weird function, but this is considered a quadratic key features function. On this, we're given a graph. So what we can do, anytime we're given an equation, you should graph that. So y equals -x squared plus 6x minus 1. Okay, so I can look at my key features here. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. My y-intercept is -1, and those are my x-intercepts, so I can get close there. So it looks like on A, that is correct. So automatically, and that's going downward, so this one is definitely wrong. And this one is definitely wrong because those are facing the wrong direction. The y-intercept on this one looks like it's a +1, so that would also be incorrect. So the answer has to be A. You just have to choose 2 or 3 points, check them, and make sure they're correct. If they are all correct, then that's the answer on this. So that's fairly easy. Just graph it and see what it looks like. All right, so that's it for key features. For finding solutions, remember solution is if you graph one equation, it's where it crosses the x-axis. If you graph 2 equations, that's where those 2 lines cross. So in order to do this, you can either move everything to one side, or you can graph both sides of the equation. Either one works. So I could graph y equals 4x squared plus 12x, and I could graph y equals 135. So I could graph y equals 135, y equals 4x squared plus 12x. Okay, and the solution is where those 2 lines cross, so I can zoom out quite a bit. They cross right there and right there. So the solution is going to be the x value because that's the x value in the equation, and it wants the positive solution, so it's 4.5. That's your answer. That's the answer you'd put in on the STAAR test. Okay, another way to do this is to actually move over the 135 to the other side. So if you did it that way, you got 4x squared plus 12x equals 135. You would move it to one side by subtracting 135 on both sides. When you do that, you get 4x squared plus 12x minus 135 equals 0. And you could actually graph that. So I could graph that minus 135. And you can check the x-intercepts, and that's the same answer. Ma'am. Oh my lord. Okay. So last one is the same thing as the solution set. You can either move over that minus 11x to the other side, or you can just graph y equals both sides. So you can graph y equals 2x squared plus 15, y equals negative 11x, and see where they cross. So they cross right there and right there, so again, those would be the answers. So the correct answer would be D, negative 3 and negative 2.5. All right, that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. Today is Friday, so we're almost at the weekend.